Hello to you all and welcome to our Darling Town podcast, a monthly podcast where you can grab a coffee and join us to discuss what we love about our town, Darlington. We aim to highlight hidden gems within the area, whether they are businesses, walks, landmarks, things to do with the kids, or visitor attractions. My name is Henry Carver and I'm joined here once again for our 5th episode by my brother and co-host James.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You don't need to read that. It's our 5th episode. You should have that by memory by now.
Well, actually, I read that the best I've ever read it.
You did. So, it was perfect. And you've got a bad voice.
Exactly right, yes. The cold went, it came back again. And I think I sent a clip to you last night with my voice on and you were just like, are you able to actually do the podcast tomorrow?
I thought I was actually going to have to do some of the spiels and the introductions. I was panicking a little bit.
You thought you had to prepare for today?
Yeah, I know. So.
Brilliant stuff. So talking about that, what have we done over the last couple of weeks since the last episode?
What have we done? Well, I think the last episode we were talking about Restaurant Week, weren't
Absolutely.
we? So we had that, which was quite successful.
Yeah.
Didn't get out as much as I wanted to, but I managed to get out on Thursday night and went to a favourite of mine, Tao.
Yep.
With a friend.
Do you go anywhere else?
Occasionally for a curry, but yeah, Tao's great. Like if we go out to eat, we want to eat something that we don't do at home. I enjoy cooking myself, so a bit of sushi and ramen noodles.
Yeah, I've seen some of your pictures of your food and it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, it's
so
good.
It's showing me up certainly.
Yeah, so you ate out 3 meals a day by the sounds of it.
Basically, yeah, I got the most out of Restaurant Week certainly. So I was off for the Monday, Tuesday because it's half term. So got 2 boys, so looked after them. Went to the Dolphin Centre to tire them out for a couple of hours at their Bounce Extreme, I think it was, where it's a lot of inflatables and a lot of screaming children. And yes, if you turn your back for a second, your child is basically doing, well, my youngest is doing front flips off the highest slide he could find.
Brilliant.
So
is that parent involvement as well? Were you able to do a bit of bouncing?
Do you know what? I'd done it previously and I got very, very hot and sweaty. So I decided, you know what, this time I'll sit it out.
Yeah.
But then, took them out for a nice meal at Una Memento and then went out in the evening. Foolishly, it was a Monday evening. I thought, with no problem at all, we're going to be able to walk into Tre Amici and get a table, but they were fully booked.
Brilliant.
On a Monday sort of early evening. So we went across to Una Memento and had a lovely evening. And where did I go on Friday? I went out to Pico, had a lovely meal there. So that's a pizza restaurant.
Which one's Pico? Pizza
restaurant on the corner of Skinnergate and Bondgate.
Oh yes, yeah, I've been there before.
So
that's really nice.
It's quite a small little spot, but they tend to do a fantastic trade.
Yeah,
and they do a lovely pizza.
By Up and Running.
Opposite Up and Running. That's why you know it.
Yeah,
yeah. So, but that was just after we went to the Dolphin Centre bowling. So yeah, quite a busy week. And then I'll continue. I went to Darlington Cricket Club we won't talk much about the rugby result, but watch the rugby, and they serve a fantastic pint of Guinness. If anyone's never been to the Darlington Cricket Club, then and then we walked into town, and then ended up having a curry at Bombay Gate. So there you go. That was my week.
Have you been to Bombay Gate before?
A couple of times.
Yeah,
my favourite restaurant.
Talking of Guinness, the friend I went out with for a bite to eat, he absolutely loves Guinness. And we went to a bar that we hadn't been to before, Crafty Merlin's, basically because we saw a post by the owner just saying how it had been a bit quiet. So we thought would go in and explore. He had a pint of one of a porter, which is like quite a dark beer. And he said it was way, way better than Guinness. He absolutely loved it. So if people haven't tried Crafty Merlin's, which is down Buckton's Yard, which you can access off High Row or Skinnergate, it feels like you go into the middle of nowhere. So it is off the beaten track. But when you're there, it's absolutely brilliant. It's really sort of...
So I saw the same post, and I went the night after you, but we didn't obviously know we were both going, did we?
No.
Friend of mine and I went there, and I didn't even know it existed, if I'm honest. I saw the post. It went kind of locally viral.
Yeah.
A lot of local independents were sharing it, which I thought was fantastic. In essence, it was a case of saying he had quite a slow January, and he could do with some support. So
I suppose everyone
give it a try
after Christmas and New Year and January and
Tends
New Year's
to be the
resolutions,
case, doesn't it?
People maybe drink less alcohol.
But it was really nice. It had a nice light set up, and they had outdoor seating. And it was just a really, really nice spot.
Excellent. I'll tell you what else I've done.
Yes.
Got some new trainers.
Oh, crikey.
Up and Running. Went to Up and Running, as we were talking about Up and Running.
Right, I'm just going to...
I was chatting, the reason I'm telling you this, I was chatting to the manager there, Dan, And I didn't realise, but they've got something called the Social Running Club, which they do on a Monday night.
Right.
And they try and host it at various restaurants around the place. So they've done it at the indoor market. And they did it, I think it was 2 weeks ago, at Hideaway on Duke Street. You know, the pizza
Where
place.
you get the world's biggest pizza in front of you.
Yeah,
It's
so
huge.
they had, I think they said 156 people all in the high-vis. They get to try out new trainers. They go for a run for 45 minutes and then go for a pizza and a beer afterwards. Like, how have I not heard about this?
How have you not?
Yeah, supporting local independence, going for a run, pizza and beer. I'm in.
Absolutely right.
So might even persuade you to come to
I
one.
think, do you know what? That sounds perfect. I'll just miss out the 45-minute run.
Yeah.
I'll see you in the bar.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what else is going on. Alex, the town centre manager from the council, is set up a great a sort of event to try and get other businesses into town. So this is targeted for sort of businesses who don't have shops or offices in Darlington to come on the 15th and or 16th of March to see what the town has to offer, to visit some of the local independent businesses, but also to view some empty commercial property as well, to see what space they can have.
Yeah.
Which sounds maybe a little bit dry. So they're doing it as a silent disco, which I think is absolutely brilliant idea.
The concept is bonkers.
Yeah.
But I think is genius at the same time.
Yeah, just something a little bit different. So it's, 15th and 16th, there's an event on Eventbrite. They're going to be touring the sort of town centre, looking at various commercial premises.
Yeah.
We're going to be there opening shops up with obviously landlord's permission.
Yeah.
I just think it's something completely different to try and get some focus on Darlington and the town centre.
Yeah. Are you going to be there with the headphones on, dancing away?
So I think someone from our Carver Commercial is doing it on the Friday, and I think I'm being roped into the Saturday. So if anyone's in town on those days and they see a group of people giving it large with some big fish, little fish, that'll be us.
Is that your go-to move?
So, absolutely.
Nice one. Talking about property, loose connection here. We asked a question last time and the first time that we had a guest regarding property. And I've got another question for you. And I have not told you the answer this time.
Fire away.
So I'll be interested to know your thoughts. So last time we asked how many properties came to the market for this year already. So the date today will be the 1st of March. However, we are 28th of Feb filming this. So from the 1st of January to the 28th of February, how many properties have sold? So that is deal agreed, so not completed. So deal agreed since the 1st of January in the DL1, 2 and 3 postcodes, and that excludes new builds. Is it A, 472? Is it B, 239? Or is it C, 337?
We will find out.
We will find out at the end. Jim, we've got another guest. Can you believe it?
Excellent.
Someone else wanted to be part of this, which is fantastic. And today's guest is someone truly exceptional. A personality who not only secured his place in the spotlight by winning Big Brother, but has since become a multifaceted individual making waves in various fields. We are delighted to have with us none other than the charismatic Anthony Hutton. His journey from winning Big Brother to his recent endeavours showcases the resilience and versatility that define his character. Anthony has recently taken a remarkable step in contributing to the well-being of others by establishing a charity focused on mental health. It's a testament to his commitment to making a positive impact and addressing crucial issues that affect so many lives. In the realm of business, Anthony's entrepreneurial spirit led him to evolve his ventures. As we delve into this conversation, we'll explore Anthony's journey from the streets of Concert to the limelight of Big Brother, and now to his inspiring efforts in supporting mental health, along with his dedication to cultivating new talents through his Barber Training Academy. So without further ado, let's welcome to the show the one and only Anthony Hutton.
Wow, I think that's that introduction might be the first one that's maybe nearly made me cry. Wow.
Well, it was
so much for those words.
It was very kind of you to supply them.
I'd really like him to do an introduction to me like that. He just says, "This is my brother Jim," and that's it. That's all I get.
Yeah, that was almost like a boxing. And
there you go.
It was. You pumped up after that.
Yeah,
you're ready to go.
No, but firstly, thanks so much for that, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
I've been watching what you've done, and then when you messaged me, I was kind of like hoping, is he going to ask me to do the podcast? And sure enough, you asked me. So yeah, thanks for being here.
You're more than welcome. Thanks for coming.
Well, firstly, I knew I recognised you from somewhere. I
didn't tell him that introduction.
No, I think we met once or twice before, but
yeah,
I feel like I know you. You're very active on social media.
Yeah,
and you've obviously had a bit of stardom in your time. What's sort of the background to your fame? Your fame, yeah.
So, well, back in 2005, I won Big Brother.
Wow.
And that comes from my first ever job was a postman, and all my life as a young lad, I wanted to be a footballer, and I was really, really dedicated. Everything was trying to be a footballer, and like most lads, that dream didn't come true, and I was terrible academically. Didn't have really any form of education, so I signed on the dole when I was 18, I think, and the first job that came up that kind of appealed to me was a post office job.
Yeah,
done that job for around about maybe about a year and a half, and just was like, this isn't me. But I felt as if there was not much more I could do because I didn't have a trade. I didn't have any education. I certainly didn't want to go to uni because that just wasn't me. And then it kind of came into my head, thought, if I get on Big Brother, that could potentially change things up.
How did you hear about Big Brother?
Well, I was a huge fan of the show.
Yeah.
So I always remember watch. I don't know whether you remember. Like how old are you? How old are you?
35.
35.
38.
Yes.
Yeah. I watched the whole series
So
that you were in.
Yeah. So you know, back then it was just a huge, massive show, and I remember watching the first ever one, and from then I was literally glued to it. And then I always thought, I think I could do that. I think I'd be good on there, and then that kind of, I literally just it got cemented in my head, where I drove down to the auditions with a really, really determined, hell bent on, right, I'm gonna get on this show. And I remember I picked up my mate at about 3:30 in the morning to get there early doors. Drove all the way to Manchester. My mates went to the pub, and I literally just went and queued and auditioned, and then kind of got through loads of auditions, and then they wanted to see me the next day, and I was just like, I've absolutely nailed that. I think
you knew it was going to happen.
I was like, I've nailed it there, lads. And then we went, and then we had a night out, and then I went back to the auditions on the Sunday, hungover, and the rest is history, really. And it's it's such a long time ago, the Big Brother experience. I've had extreme highs. I always say in reflection, it was such an extreme taste of fame that I had. I was a run-of-the-mill young lad. I lived with my grandparents and my mum, and I was a very, very mollycoddled lad. Like literally, like I couldn't do anything. The washing, cooking, cleaning, I didn't pay a board or anything, and then catapulted into living in the Big Brother house for 3 months, and then coming out where everyone knew your name.
Yeah,
it was such a high, and because I was such a fan of the show, it was mind blowing, because it was something that I'd always watched on TV. So then to get on it, it was, and then to win it, it was just like crazy.
Yeah.
But there was, with that high, there was an extreme low.
So what happened sort of the following months and years after you sort of stepped out as the winner and all the fireworks were going off and you're celebrating?
So I won on the Friday night. Then the Saturday, the next day was equally as crazy. I had to meet a load of different agents on the morning who wanted to sign me. So my mum and me we met all these different agents. And then the last agent I had a meeting with, I was advised to go with this agency, and they were called John Knoll Management, and they were a big agency that had some big names. They had Davina McCall, Dermot O'Leary, Russell Brand, Jade Goody. I signed with them at about 12 o'clock on the Saturday, and then by half 12, they'd got me a £200,000 photo shoot with OK Magazine, and then I got taken away to a mansion to do a photo shoot and get me photograph taken in a like swimming pool and stuff. And I'd never done this before, so I was like having to like pause and then do all this and do this interview and stuff. And then a couple of weeks later, I ended up doing a TV show called The Match, which was it was a football program that was on Sky One, and I played at St James's Park in front of the 52,000 capacity crowd on a Sunday night. You know, that was just the first couple of months, and done loads of other different stuff. It was a real whirlwind.
Yeah. And how did you cope with that? So going from living with your mum and your grandparents and being a postie, to
I'd had there's another little bit of a side job that I got before the post office job, and that I got a job as a 70s disco dancer, which was a total U-turn of occupations.
Yeah.
So I was each guy, it was an all-male dance troupe, and I was called Chico Importante from Puerto Rico. Teeth of whiteness, arse of tightness. That kind of gave me an element of, you know, I was on stage, so it kind of gave me a lot of confidence. It kind of, you know, I was an extrovert in my personality, so that kind of like give me an element of a taste of the fame.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget the next door neighbours were asking why is there a wig on the line, and my grandma was saying, "Oh, he's a dancer now." And it was, to be honest, that job helped me get on the show, because when they basically said, you know, when I introduced myself as like, I'm Anthony, this is what I do for a living. I'm a disco dancer. I travel all around. So yeah, it was great, but I was loving it.
Yeah.
To answer your question, what was it like?
Yeah.
I was absolutely loving it. I was 23, single, had some fame, money was coming in.
Excellent.
I was doing all this type of fun celebrity type stuff.
Yeah.
It was like unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, for about 6 months, I was just eating out in restaurants because I couldn't cook.
Sounds all right. Yeah.
But yeah, so I immediately moved to Camden.
Yeah.
So it was a huge change up, because I was living in County Durham in concert with me grandparents and my mum, and then I was living in Camden, doing a lot of celebrity type stuff. So yeah, it was a crazy experience.
Fantastic.
But
so you've been photographed by, do you say it was the Daily Mirror, or do you say
it was the
OK
Magazine? Yeah.
You've probably been interviewed by quite a few, you know, other magazines and newspapers and things. So obviously we've got quite big shoes to fill, haven't we, on today?
Well, I mean, I tell you what, no one gives us an introduction like you. I'll tell you now, that's the best introduction I've ever had. Honestly, it was phenomenal.
Brilliant. Well, I'm pleased.
So you'd said you grew up in Concert.
Yeah.
Obviously, this podcast is about Darlington, our darling town.
Yeah.
What's your connection to Darlington?
Well, you know what? I've actually got, I would say, a huge connection with Darlington, because Darlington, like, it played a part of actually me getting out of a terrible place I was at. So when I was basically transitioning from the fame, and everything had dried up, I got into a terrible headspace, and I after I went and seen professional help, and I remember getting the opportunity that I could have came to Darlington, and I remember thinking, this is definitely a good move, because I have to change things up in my life, because I was in a terrible place. I had no focus. I didn't have a job. For a long time, I was terrified to get a job. I was paranoid, and my pride and ego was like thinking I can't get a real job because for such a long time my title was Anthony from Big Brother. But I realized that I have to change things up, and I was hanging around with a terrible crowd, living a terrible lifestyle, and this is something I touch on my talk when I do a lot of guest speaking now, and I always say, if there's something bad, you have to change it up. And my change up was a change of location. I needed a fresh start, and I moved to Dalton. And the first, I was living in 33 East Raby Street. I was house sharing, and I got a job in a hair salon, and that turned out to be one of the best moves that I've ever made. Yeah. That hair salon, I met my now wife, who we've got a beautiful son. We've got another baby on the way. I ended up, owning a business, Mr. Hutton's Barbers and Bar, something I'm really proud of. And if I didn't change things up, none of that would have happened. So I always push. It's something that, like I said, I touch on my talks. If you're not in a good place, whether that's your headspace, location, job, toxic relationship, change it up. Yeah. But yeah, so I think I absolutely love Dalton, and I know you try. This is what it's all about. But honestly, Dalton has a special place in my heart because it's very linked to me getting into a better place.
Yeah. And talk to us about your setting up the business, because that would have been a big step for you, I imagine.
Yeah, that was opening Mr. Hutton's Barbers and Bar. I had this idea of having a barbershop and a combined bar. And it's funny, Henry, I don't know whether Henry knows how much I'm forever in his debt, because Henry was dealing with Henry. He was the first person who said, this is possible. You can do a change of use, because at the time, 39 Blackwell Gate was a retail unit, and Henry basically said, we can do a change of use, and I know the whole process of doing this, and we'll do the application. So Henry done the whole application for me. And again, I don't know whether Henry remembers this, but I specifically remember it. He sent me a voicemail. I picked up my phone, I listened to it, and it was Henry basically saying, you've been accepted the change of use. And it was just, that was such a big moment. And it was just like, wow, this is possible. I don't know whether you might not be able to remember. It was such
I remember doing the application, of course.
Yeah.
I can't remember that specific voicemail, obviously, but
it was as good as your introduction. It was just like music to my ears. And yeah, it was, and then I set up business, and that was, it was a real, I remember my first ever day of opening, the first ever night I opened the business, I got so emotional in the back, in the barber chair, because it was such a big moment for me, because it was like a confirmation that I'd elevated myself back to, I had a high from Big Brother.
Yeah.
I had such a low. Yeah. And then it was kind of like I fought my way back up to what I deemed as being successful again. So it was like setting up a business. It was like, I was so proud of myself because I'd been in such a bad place.
Yeah. Tell us more about how the idea obviously came up with yourself, or did you get inspiration from elsewhere regarding the bar and barber?
It was, I didn't know that many people in Dalton when I first moved here. So one of the best things about being a barber is, you start kind of getting friends. So there was one lad who I used to cut his hair on a Friday night. He would always be my last client, and then we would always go for a drink. And, I've always been ambitious, and I always, the end the end goal of me being in the hair industry was I want to open my own place. And then I've always been I'm so ditzy and blonde. Like, honestly, I'm terrible academically. My wife says I'm the thickest, cleverest person she knows. I don't know. That's, it's just such a backhanded
But
compliment.
people are clever in different ways.
Yeah, but I am very creative.
Yeah.
And that's definitely one of my strong points. And I always just thought, how cool would it be if I had a barber's in a bar? And I'd seen a couple of places that you get a beer, but there weren't a bar as well.
It wasn't licensed, and it was probably just a freebie in with your haircut. So,
yeah. And I always Arnold Schwarzenegger's he done a speech, and it always stays with me, where he's like, don't listen to naysayers, because so many people told me that it wasn't a concept that worked, and he always found it appealing if it hadn't been done or no one's really doing it. He was like, that's a good thing, and those words always like right, and I was just obsessive with doing like both concept. I was like, no, it's going to be a full-on bar as well. I don't care if anyone doesn't think it's going to work. I think it's going to work. And yeah.
And how long was that open for?
It was open, I think, we nearly 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's when I was thinking about kind of coming out, there was part of me that felt as if I was failing and stuff, but when I stripped it all back, it was definitely the right time to come out. And again, I was in an element of a transition of thinking, well, what's next? And, this Never Throw on the Towel project that's kind of come about. And it just shows that something will always come up if you have the right mentality and you keep on pushing forward and you just have a positive mindset. And this Never Throw on the Towel project is just come about very, very naturally.
Tell us a bit more about that. How did that come about then?
Yeah, so it comes from such a special place, to be honest. So the project's Never Throw on the Towel. Strap line is keep on living. Those were the words that I used in my grandma's eulogy. And those words were basically describing her attitude towards getting stage 4 cancer, how she had such a fighting spirit. She never threw in the towel, and she wanted to do everything possible to keep on living as long as she could. And after the funeral, a man came up to us outside the church, and he was like crying. He was like really emotional, and he thanked us for my eulogy. And he told us my grandma was an absolute amazing woman. And later that night, he sent me along. I got a message request, and it was the same guy. He sent me a big, massive, long message, sharing with me that he'd been massively struggling with his mental health. He'd been having to go and see someone. He was in a terrible place, but the words "never throw in the towel" really hit him, and he's going to put that into motion. And obviously, because that night I was also feeling extremely emotional, it really hit me. And from then, there was just a fire that got lit, and I actually just started Googling how to be a guest speaker on men's mental health. Guest speaker, and I contacted a few different agents. No one got back to me. And then randomly, a woman who I'd done pantomime with years ago, she got in touch, and she said she lives in London, and she was like, listen, I'm doing an event in Newcastle. I'd like you to be on the panel because you're a local guy. And I just said, all right, what's it about? And she said, it's mainly like a guest speakers event. And me being ballsy, I said, do you mind if I be a guest speaker? And she was like, all right, I didn't realize you done that. I was like, I haven't. I said, but I've got a few stories, and I talk to men for a living. I'm a barber, and I've really got a voice on this. And she went, right, okay, cool. She got back in touch with me and right, what's the talk going to be called? And it was like, Never Throw on the Towel. And from that, it's just naturally progressed. I decided to do a retreat for last November, and it was to get guys out in nature, go on a walk, do some exercise. There was 9 guys turned up, and from then it's just snowballed and snowballed and snowballed into it's starting to be a really, really big project. And just simply because the message is huge and the problem's huge, and it's absolutely fantastic journey so far.
And how many retreats have you done so far?
We've done 3 so far. Last one we had 72 blocks on it.
Wow.
Little plug, we've got a women's one this Sunday, March the 3rd at Kippennook.
Yep.
Free to attend. And then the March 17th is Paddy Day special. Bring your green trunks if you're coming. And that's the next one, yeah. And we've got some big plans for the whole project. But yeah, it's like I said, it's from a very special place in my heart, and it's something that I'm passionate about, actively trying to tackle and spread the word. And yeah.
It's a fantastic thing you're doing, and just seeing from afar, really. I've not attended, and I will be absolutely attending in the future. There's no two ways about it. Just I think to get you out and about and to basically do something you're not comfortable with, get you outside of that sort of day-to-day norm that you said sort of, something that helped you massively was changing it up.
Yeah.
Do this. This is the first step to changing it up, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for me, nature, exercise, it's one of the best forms of medicine. And the camaraderie that we've built, honestly, on those days is absolutely magic.
Yeah.
And we've naturally built a community. So now you've got the retreat, but then we've got the Never Throw in the Towel Project members group where, we're actively having Motivation Monday. There was one guy who told us last week whose hair I was cutting, and he didn't know many people. And there was another guy on the project who turned up by himself. Now them 2 blokes are meeting through the week, doing stuff. They've struck up a friendship. And I think in this modern day world that we live in, where you've got social media, mobile phones, people working from home, a lot of the guys on the they have it's a mental health. It's more of a well-being day that we do. And I think it's so important that we incorporate exercise, getting out in nature into our lifestyles, because we have these obstacles with working from home, or all these things that make us not want to go out and stuff. So I think it's so important to implement that in your life.
Not needing to go out as well. You can get everything on the click of a button.
Yeah.
You can just get everything delivered, arrive the next day, or if it's food or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And you throw in a bit of cold water therapy as well. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, I'd done. People think you're a madman for doing it if they don't have, knowledge on it.
Yeah.
I'd done a cold water retreat a few years back, and this guy kind of told us on all the health benefits, and I came away thinking, wow, that was unbelievable. And this year, Sophie bought me one for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I've literally been doing it consistently all this year. And I've probably had the best start to a year. I can't remember having a better start.
Yeah.
Just with me energy, my mood, all of this. And I think the cold water dips has played a huge part in that.
Yeah. And it's not exactly a straightforward task for you either, is it? It's not, you don't just walk up there and jump in and you're done.
Well, honestly, every morning I'm, staring at it going, I don't want to do this. I don't want. But then when I come out, honestly, it's just worth it every time. But it's funny. There's every morning my son's watching me do it, and he's like, Daddy, ice bath, Daddy, ice bath.
Brilliant.
So yeah, I'm all, he's gonna be he's going to be all over it when he's older because he's
He's
seen
used
me
to
do
it.
it. Yeah.
So what temperature are we talking? Have you got a thermometer in it?
Yeah, it's, I think it was 3. Is it 3 Celsius? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a bit ditzy and blonde.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's 3. Yeah, I think it was 3 today. Yeah,
That's
So what are you going to do when it gets warmer? Do you have to
well, you can get
some ice blocks and stuff to cool it down?
you can get a you can get like a, I don't know what it's called, like a machine that a chiller.
Yeah.
I think I might invest in one of them.
Yeah.
Obviously you can get some. I mean, I was thinking about keeping my ice machine from the bar and thinking.
Yeah, just chuck that in.
Actually, if we put that in the garden, then I'll just have endless amounts of ice.
Yeah.
But no, I've ended up selling that, so that's not an option.
So your wife got it for you for Christmas?
Yeah.
Has your wife been in it?
Well, she can't because she's pregnant.
Okay, that's a good excuse.
Yeah,
she timed that well.
Otherwise, because honestly, I'm really passionate about it because anyone who comes to my house, I'm like, hey, do you want to
have a get in?
Honestly, my cousin stayed at our house last week. She's 21, and managed to like get into it, and she was like, after she was like, wow.
Yeah.
She was like, I might get one of them. She was like, I feel unbelievable.
Yeah.
But people who don't really know it, they just think, why on earth are you in the cold water?
Yeah.
But I think you've got to think about it. Is like, I don't want to just get in the cold water just for the sake of it in the morning. You've got to think to do something that hard, there must be some benefits from it. There must be. And like I said, how good I feel after it.
Yeah.
It's worth it every time. And I always do, like, I've done one this morning. Like, if I'm doing anything where I feel as if I've kind of, got to perform or deliver, a podcast or something where I want to be engaging and, on the top of my game, like, it's absolutely, I kind of like feel I need to do it.
Just energizes you.
Just the energy.
Yeah.
Just the energy, because I'm like, wallop, boom, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the shower afterwards as well is epic. Honestly, you do the cold water dip, I kind of dry off, get myself sorted, and then I'm in the shower and I'm just like, oh God, this is so good. So yeah, it makes the shower even better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I hope I've maybe motivated you to.
Well, I got one.
Because you've got one, haven't you?
Yeah, my wife got me one for Christmas as well. So, and we've been pretty inconsistent with it. So I think you've given me the kick up the backside to get it filled up. We emptied it last week because the water had gone a bit murky.
Yeah,
and we found a worm in it. So we thought we'd clear it out. So yeah, I think I might get it up and running tonight. Yes, it's a very small worm. Yeah, I suppose it's
there was a maggot in mine as well this morning.
I suppose it's what I'm most impressed is the consistency of you doing it. It's very easy to make an excuse and not do it, and then you're out of the habit.
Yeah.
How have you kept yourself consistent?
Well, you know what I think. I'm running this Facebook group, and I'm trying to motivate people. But with that, I'm getting motivated.
Yeah.
Because it's really given me the nudge. So
having to be a leader, set an example.
I'm having to set an example. So there's that group's accountability for me.
Yeah.
So I've got to kind of be actively doing it.
Yeah.
And you just said the word consistency. So Tuesday's top tip Tuesday. And my top tip on Tuesday was consistency. And I think consistency it might be the most important ingredient to success. I think anyone who's in shape, fantastic at business, in sport, anyone who's successful, they will be consistent. And I always kind of touch on drinking water, get your steps in, do the cold water, get a cold shower, a cold dip, exercise, all these basic things in life. If you do them consistently over a stretched time, you will feel better. You will look better. You will be absolutely the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
And you guys are businessmen. You'll know this in terms of any success that you've had. It will be you've been consistent. So it's a big thing. Consistency.
Yeah,
absolutely. You are our third guest on this show. Our previous guest was Veronica from the Pasta Shop. Is that somewhere you've been before?
Her pasta's absolutely unbelievable. She knows my order now, so I've got this special order, and it's terrible on the calories, but it's double cream, pesto, chicken, bacon, peas, onion, and a bit of cheese on top, and it's unbelievable.
Last week, on the last episode, or whatever it was, a couple of weeks, it sounds incredible. But she said specifically there was a chap that came in and asked for mayonnaise, chicken, and was it sweet corn? Did you ever go in and ask for mayonnaise on your pasta?
No.
Right, okay.
No, that's not me.
Would have been too much of a coincidence, wouldn't it?
I think she barred that person.
She did, but then she told that person, listen, I'm never serving you mayonnaise, but I'll do your alternative.
Right.
And it sounded very similar to what you just listed there.
Yeah.
No, she rates that. She rates that dish.
Yeah,
that
sounds incredible.
Yeah, it is. It's unbelievable. Double cream and pesto are they're a dream together.
Anything with cream in is good for me.
I'm terrible with double cream,
So that's one of your favourite places. Where else do you like to go to in Darlington if you were taking your wife out for a bite to eat or going on a date?
That I think for restaurants, I think Darlington is absolutely unbelievable for restaurants.
Absolutely.
For me, my favourite place to go to, I'm going again on my birthday, is the Bay Horse.
Yeah,
in Herworth.
Yeah.
And honestly, because I love cooking. Like, if I wasn't a barber, if someone said, "What would you do if you weren't a barber?" I would say, "Oh, I'd like to be a chef."
Yeah.
It's a passion of mine. MasterChef's my favourite program to watch. And everywhere I go, the Bay Horse is that's the benchmark, and very rarely live up to the Bay Horse. I think they've got the combination of, like, it's kind of fine dining, but you can get a dauphinoise potato on the side. You can get the chips as well if you want to kind of fill it up, which I always do. But the tapas, that's another imperial. Yeah, that's another favourite of mine and my wife's. Where else? There's Trimici, Ono Mementos. Ono Mementos is a great one. If you just want a good, nice, quick, easy meal, straight in Ono's, really reasonably priced.
That's right.
Yeah, there's loads of places.
Absolutely. It's just been Darlington Restaurant Week. Did you get yourself out last week at all?
No, I didn't actually. Yeah. I'm trying to eat clean.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I'm having another. Well, it's a long way away. I'm having a boxing fight in December, and I think that's going to be the last time I do it.
Yeah.
But I've already got it in my head where I'm just like, I'm in kind of exercise mode.
It gives you something to focus on.
Yeah, I think that's the type of person I am. I like really stepping outside my comfort zone. I like setting challenges, tasks, and working towards them.
Tell us a bit more about your barbering academy.
Yeah, so...
And just quickly before you do, James is actually... He learnt you were a barber and he's had his hair cut. What do you think? That was him before. That was him now.
Yeah, no, it's a decent job, actually. Yes,
I did it myself.
As if. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, so I've got an academy. I still love training. I deliver NVQ level 2 barbering, and I absolutely love barbering. I'll always kind of cut hair in some way, shape, or form. Even with this Never Throw in the Towel project, so I do a lot of guest speaking, but I also tie in the barber chair experience. So I do a talk, and then straight after the talk, I have a pop-up barber chair, because my thing is the barber chair might be the best or most natural place for a man to open up and talk naturally. So, I've incorporated, I'll always kind of, in some way, shape or form, always kind of be a barber.
No, fantastic. Before you came on, I asked a question. I'll go back to that. And I asked you, see if you know, it's property related. It's regarding how many properties have sold since the 1st of January in the DL1, 2 and 3 postcodes, excluding new builds. And there's multiple choice, so don't worry. Just, one in 3 chance.
Because like I said, I'm a ditzy blonde.
Is it A, 472, B, 239, or C, 337?
A.
It would be nice if it was 472, but the answer is C, 337. So there you go. So still a very healthy amount of sales agreed. And as I said before, we're filming this on the 28th of February. So very, very busy month, January and February for property sales already in Darlington. So
well, it was because I rate you so much as what you do, you know. So I went for the highest.
This is every agent, by the way. It's not just us. Yeah, absolutely. So listen, I think this has been an absolutely, truly incredible conversation. Again, I'll reiterate, thank you very much indeed for coming on. Third guest, so we're just finding our feet. I don't think we are quite like the Sun interviewers, but
he's done a fantastic job.
But no, genuinely, thank you very much indeed
thanks
for coming
very much for having me on, lads.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.